Ash was later found all over the western U.S., confirming the huge size of the eruption. At least 80 times the size of the 1883 explosion that destroyed the island of Krakatoa. And 2,500 times bigger than the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. The almost unimaginable size of the Yellowstone blast means that scientists now call it a supervolcano. Investigators saw for the first time the sleeping monster that lies below Yellowstone Park. Snaking down hundreds of miles into the earth, far deeper than the relatively shallow magma chamber, is a colossal volcanic pipe. Nobody's certain how deep it goes, but they can picture it down to 400 miles or more, twice the distance between Washington and New York, and found traces of ancient volcanic craters. The crater rims had long been eroded, but their outlines were confirmed by aerial pictures over the following decade. They ran in a straight line along the plain, heading for the heart of Yellowstone Park. On average, each crater was a couple of million years older than its neighbor. Investigators realized that these are the remnants of earlier supervolcano explosions, an unbroken chain stretching far back into geological history. It seemed clear that time after time, the hotspot had blasted out a super eruption and then moved on. The hotspot appeared to have traveled hundreds of miles. But that posed yet another riddle. How could a hotspot, anchored to the core of the planet, be moving? But the real answer lay with the theory of plate tectonics. It showed that it's the American continent, not the hotspot, that's moving. And the chain of craters on Snake River Plain is there because for millions of years, the moving American continent has continually pushed new land over the stationary hotspot, all of which leads to the most frightening question of all. When will Yellowstone erupt again? $640,000 years ago, the eruption poured out around 240 cubic miles of material, enough to bury the whole of New York State tens of feet deep in ash. If it happens again, thousands will die, and vast areas of the United States will be buried in volcanic debris. But when will Yellowstone erupt again? One clue to when that next eruption will happen comes from investigating the eruptions of the past. The hotspot punches out a super eruption on average every 600,000 years. And the last one was 640,000 years ago. But geologists expect that there will be warning signs before Yellowstone explodes again. Volcanic eruptions are usually preceded by an increasing number of earthquakes. The quakes are a sign that underground volcanic chambers are filling with molten rock and expanding to stretch and deform the land up above. Yellowstone Park usually experiences an average of 12 tiny earthquake tremors every day. Most are too weak to be felt by tourists and register only on the most sensitive seismometers. But in early 2009, more than 4 times as many quakes started striking every day. Over one 10-day period, there were more than 500 quakes, some of them up to magnitude 3.9, powerful enough to frighten the visitors and put the scientists on alert. There's a second indicator of increasing volcanic activity. If more molten rock does inflate the underground chamber, the ground above will rise. And that too seems to be happening right now.